Nicole Osinski with Government Fleet. So excited for you to join us today. I am joined with Erinn DeJonge, Fleet Operations Manager at Sarasota County Government. Erinn, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for asking me on this. I'm looking forward.
Well, we are so happy to have you on. Before we start talking about the role that you've stepped into, I would love you to tell me a little about your journey into Fleet and what that was like.
Yeah. So I honestly kind of fell into it. I didn't know there was actually any kind of roles in Fleet other than like the maintenance side of things or parts. My background was business administration. I worked for accounting department beforehand, and previously I was in the county for a year prior to even knowing we had a Fleet department. One of my good friends let me know that there was a hiring position within the county and it was for Fleet. I had no idea anything about it. So then I interviewed for it. The next week I accepted the job, and ever since then it's kind of been history. I've been in the Fleet industry for about 5 years now, but I have a background a little bit in it, so I've kind of known about it, but never in the management Fleet area or anything like that. Like I said, it was just parts and maintenance I kind of knew about. So that's how I kind of get my foot in the door. Is somebody mentioned to me that there was a Fleet department in the county, and I accepted the role as an admin at that time. When I was an admin, I did like the purchase orders, and I worked a lot with maintenance and their budgets and stuff like that, and projecting numbers and so on and so forth. At that point, then I kind of, we had a different management kind of come in, and at that point I wasn't sure where my goals were going to be or where my path was leading me. So I kind of stepped back out of Fleet for about a year and a half. Took a couple other roles within the county, which I'm very thankful that I did now, based on I learned so much abroad in how the county operates and stuff like that. It's very different than the private sector where I came from. And then about a little bit after that, I took some other roles. The Fleet Acquisitions Manager position became available, which I applied for. I accepted it once they offered it to me, and then recently now I am in the Business Operations Manager side of things, which I just took within the last couple weeks.
Okay, so tell me about your new role, and tell us what you're most excited about going forward.
Yeah. So historically, I was over just acquisitions, purchasing, and the kind of life cycle of the Fleet from cradle to grave is what we call it, making sure that we are purchasing the correct assets for their correct applications for the departments, and kind of teaching the departments, like, what are they needing this for? Okay, well, let's look at the options that we have out there, and then let's best pick the one that piece of equipment for their needs. Historically, we dealt with a lot of departments just picking the piece of equipment based on that's what they've always done, or that's the piece of equipment we've always used, which now we're kind of focusing more on the applications, best products out there for that application, and right-sizing their Fleet. Right now, that was my role just on acquisitions. Now I've moved over, now that I have fuel under me. The county has 4 fuel sites, and we maintain and manage all of those. We do our testing, fuel testing, yearly checks with them so that we pass state regulations, all that fun stuff, as well as we have 3 major budgets within the Fleet, and currently I'm over those as well now. So I have a couple new people under me, and I'm really looking forward, though, to the new adventures.
Well, it is very exciting, and along with the exciting, I know that there are also challenges. So what are some of the challenges that you're focused on right now, and how are you approaching those challenges?
Mm-hmm. So the fuel thing is a very big learning curve for me. It's a lot of the technical things I don't really know, but in my opinion, I don't want to be just a boss. I want to be a leader, so I'm going to have to learn those sides of things. So a couple of weeks ago, I had our fuel technician drive me around to all our fuel sites, explain certain things, explain to me like what's the most troubleshooting questions that we have on calls day in and day out, just so I could better understand of what he is needing, but as well as if we can improve the fuel side and the questions that the customers are calling us consistently on, can we improve those products, as well as what can we do as they're our customer, and how can we support them. So that's a huge thing, is really learning the technical side of the fuel going to sites, starting to take some calls from customers, troubleshooting those needs for them, and so on. And the budget side, I've dabbled in it a lot before, and I actually manage the acquisition side of the budget. So now I'm doing over the maintenance as well as the fueling side budget. So that I'm just kind of stepping into. I understand it for the most part, but we have a couple meetings planned in the future to kind of just go over a few more basics and just to get my understanding better.
Gotcha. So then, what's something about your background that you think is helping your job or you think will help you that, even if it's not fleet related?
Yeah. So actually my background is heavy equipment. My parents own and operated a underground utility company for my whole life. So I've always knew kind of the verbiage of, that's a excavator or heavy backhoe, so on and so forth, dump trucks, tandem axle, so on and so forth, which really helped me because I always have to step back and think I'm dealing with people that aren't fleet savvy. So I'm like, okay, when I explain to them, a quarter-ton truck or a half-ton truck, they look at me like I'm nuts, and I'm like, okay, sorry, I mean like a 1,500 or 2,500, or, then I go back into asking them, what are you using it for, and let's fit you with the right product for your needs. So that really helped me growing up in that family, as well as my parents instilled into me to work very hard and very diligently, as well as, them owning their own company. Nothing was simple. People, might see the easy side to it, but I was on the inside. I saw how much work they put in and the long hours. So I'm definitely a hard worker, I would say, and I would give it up to them for teaching me that.
Well, I think those are all, such big things, and kind of, I love that the idea of being able to incorporate those different parts of your background, because I think a lot of people that I've talked to as well say, oh, I don't have a fleet background, I can't go into fleet, or maybe they thought they couldn't, but it's that, using those different aspects and saying, okay, I do have, a lot of knowledge in this area, maybe I need to learn more about this. And, that's why I wanted to segue into the next question is, about approaching the transition. How are you learning from people who have held the role versus, maybe putting your stamp on things?
Definitely. I'm a big question asker, so I'll be asking a lot of questions. They are very well aware of that. The other thing is what I've done is like the people that are in their positions right now in these departments, I fully trust. I've came into it understanding that they've been in these positions for quite some time. They have a background in it. So I went in just explaining to them, I am, yes, your boss, but I am your leader. I want to support you in whatever you need. Let me know certain things that we're struggling on or whatever support you may be needing. So I'm 100% asking a lot of questions. I'm sure they're probably over my phone calls by now, but it's not going to end anytime soon. I would say too, is I'm kind of out of the box. So with these transitions, I'm asking them, okay, well, what's working, what's not working? Is there another way we can do it? And coming up with kind of new ideas. And my biggest peeve is I don't want to hear necessarily, and sometimes it happens, but I don't want to hear, well, that's the way we've always done it. Okay, well, that's great, but not great. That's really, really bad. Let's figure out a new way, even if it might be something that we haven't necessarily done in the county. Let's reach out to some of our surrounding counties and see how they're doing it, and kind of, see what's best practice as well, and just kind of pick other people's minds.
So being somebody who does like to ask a lot of questions, what's one thing that you've learned from your team already?
A big thing is open communication. I'm always available, as well as they are always open to me calling them, trusting them. I'm not going to hinder their trust at all. That's why I think our team is built on is trust. So I'm going to give them that first, and then we'll play it off, and just go from there. I'm constantly learning new things, so I don't think that's ever going to change. And the importance of data. I'm learning that with especially the fuel side of things, and I know acquisition side is a big thing, but the fuel side of the transactions, the software that we're utilizing, all that stuff, and the importance of the data. So that was a big, part of my learning curve, I guess, I would say, because I'm not a huge data junkie person. I'm kind of like, let me sit back and do things and so let me know the data, but I don't know how to work the data yet. So we're getting there.
Well, I think that's great though that you do have a team that you're able to work through on that, and we said before, just having that open communication is huge because I don't know how you would succeed to as well as a lot of fleets do without communication. I feel like that's one thing I do hear from a lot of the successful fleets is just it's that open communication, even when it's hard
Yeah.
though. But keeping, like you said, keeping that door open. And with that said, so where do you hope to see the fleet will be in the next year or two, and how do you plan to get there?
Yeah, so Sarasota County Fleet, we have a lot of big plans and in the making right now. So it's very exciting to be in the middle of it all. One of them, we have a new building. We're breaking ground this summer, so it's going to be completely under air. So that'll be a huge game changer for us. Right now, we have to deal with a very hot hot summers in Florida. So that will be a big change to us because a lot of our competitors and getting technicians, it's very difficult for us just because, one, we're a municipality, we can't always compete with pay for the private sector, but if we can get up our technicians in a more comfortable area to do their jobs, it will improve our technician, I think, productivity immensely. The other thing is we're cleaning up the data in the systems. Historically, data was inputted into our FIM system kind of we'll just say not appropriately. So we've been cleaning that up slowly but surely over the last few years. We're improving our software. We've actually implemented telematics over the last year and a half, 2 years almost now, and that has been a huge game changer of getting clean data into our system, tracking our assets, real time, and communicating with our departments, who is our customer, on the efficiencies as well as downtime and all of that, as well as the time that they're not utilizing the vehicles. So we're really looking at that and trying to explain to them, instead of like growing the fleet and saying, oh, hey, I need another dump truck or I need another, SUV or something, we can look at the fleet as a whole and see which one hasn't been operated recently and say, okay, well, can we pull this from this department or can we utilize it here, and just kind of right size our fleet a little bit better instead of growing it so quickly. The other thing that I'd really like to see is automation within our fleet, so making things a lot more efficiency, but that's going to be coming with that whole data and software improvements.
Well, and I feel like you're kind of already touching on this, and the goals and plans you guys have. But for you, what does success look like to you in this role?
So I'm very customer service driven. That's kind of my background, in any kind of jobs I had previously and accounting and such. I had customers. So in this role, I've kind of taken on that look of everybody that we touch or who we affect within our fleet is our customer. People that are using our fuel sites, people that we're providing vehicles for, maintaining the equipment for these departments. So I would love to see the priority of our customer service kind of uptick on that. We're doing a great job, but I think there's more room for improvements. And then just building a stronger team. We have a fantastic team right now, and I would just love to see it grow, as well as doing a couple more team building and kind of out of the box thinking of like, how can we get the team together other than just throwing a lunch party or something like that, getting a little bit more tangible and something off the county grounds and kind of into a more, I don't know, maybe bowling, something similar to that. So those kinds of ideas that I'm hoping will improve our team and building and stuff, such like that.
So then throughout this whole process of working on all these multiple projects, having all these goals, which is great, is there a tool or a habit maybe, or even a resource that you can't do your job without?
That's an easy question, easy answer. That is my team. I could not do this job without my team. The people that here that help and support me, I reiterate that throughout the county when everybody's like, oh, you're doing a great job. I'm like, it's not just me, it's my team. They are my backbone. If they were not here, I could not do this. It is impossible for one person to put in play, of everything, just all the small pieces that people don't see. And I can confidently trust in my team to make the right decisions if I'm away or something, as well as making the right choices and they know the process. I fully trust them. I would not be where I'm at without my team. So that is a huge thing, I would say, and there's no way I would be here without them.
I think that's huge. So I think that's, and such a great thing to be able to say too, that, you've got such a great team that you're working with, and again, that you're able to communicate with, and again, plan for those really exciting things down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And then to wrap up, so if you could just give us one piece of advice, and let's say for, let's rephrase that. If you could just give one piece of advice to someone who is starting in fleet, what would that piece of advice be?
Don't be afraid. Don't be intimidated. I came in knowing very minimal in the fleet industry. Like I said, I thought there was just parts and maintenance, and that's about it. I had no idea there was this whole side of management and keeping the things going and all these little things. So don't be intimidated. Don't be scared. The fleet community is amazing with assisting and helping new people come into it. I think that's one of the huge things that I do truly love about being in fleet is just the communications and the connections that you build, and everybody's so willing to help. And don't be scared, you'll learn along the way. No one is ever going to know everything, so don't be surprised if you ask a question. Don't think it's stupid or anything like that. There's no dumb questions in fleet. So just don't be worried or concerned. That I feel like too that there's even people from the other sides of things that I had the background of growing up in a underground utilities company per se, but even people that don't have that kind of background or anything, you can learn this. This is all, something that's very obtainable, and understanding if you kind of have that mindset of wanting to do it.
I think that's a great piece of advice to leave our audience with.
Yeah, of course.
Well, Erinn, thank you so much for joining us and for taking the time. We know all of you guys are so busy, but we always appreciate you jumping on a call with us just to tell us about, what you've been up to, your goals, and share some of your advice for the rest of us.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thanks for sharing your time with me. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you to our audience as well. We hope you'll join us next time for another GovCast episode. Until next time.